Welcome to the show. I'm Jason Whitlock, and I'll tell you why the Steelers-Patriots game may determine the MVP, and it won't be Tom Brady.
And I'm Colin Cowherd, and I'll tell you why everybody needs to just calm down about last night's LONZO chat. Yeah, speak for yourself on a Friday starts right now.
Looking like an offensive coordinator last night.
Talking into his play sheet, you know?
Yeah.
Didn't want anybody to see it.
All right, hello and welcome. We're joined today by Fox NFL analyst Tony Gonzalez and Mark Schlereth. Let's start in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers host the Patriots in a game that could decide home field in the AFC. These teams have met in a number of huge games over the years, and there's no love lost between them, which may have something to do with why Pittsburgh columnist Colin Dunlap went off on Tom Brady this week, tweeting, quote, "The fact that some don't see Tom Brady in the same light as Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Rosie Ruiz, Lance Armstrong, Ben Johnson, etc., is mind-blowing to me. Guy is a cheater, a proven one. Such a stain should never go away." All right, Cowherd, is it fair to characterize Brady as a cheater?
Listen, before New England, Belichick, Brady, Pittsburgh was the belle of the ball. They ruled the AFC, and they are really second tier when Brady and Belichick came around, and they don't like it. They've been unseated. They're no longer the incumbent. They're no longer the most discussed. They're no longer the smartest. The Rooneys ruled it. And then Brady and Belichick came in, and they not only are better than Pittsburgh, they humiliate them. Brady has 26 TDs and 1 interception in his career against
Is it fair to characterize him as a cheater?
No, they're jealous. Pittsburgh hates the fact they've been unseated by the smarter, more efficient, more value-tested, big game kingpin Patriots. All jealousy.
I think the guy's criticism is over the top and not a criticism I would make. But is it fair to take Deflategate and Spygate and be one of these people that won't let it go and offer up that criticism? Yes. It's a criticism I don't buy, but I do think it's fair for some to throw that shade on Tom Brady. Would I put him in the same category as
Rosie Ruiz? Come on.
Or Ben Johnson or Lance Armstrong or the guys the steroid guys? No, and I think, you know, this guy, if he really understands Pittsburgh Steelers history, I wouldn't be throwing around steroid accusations. I mean, right. Let's go ask Mike Webster and the great Pittsburghs, the Steel Curtain, how that was built.
Yeah. Well, I would tell you this, that when you look at Tom Brady, he is obviously the GOAT. He's the greatest that's ever played in my mind. And I'll look at it from my perspective. Did I ever try to circumvent the rules? You're damn right I did, right? You're damn right I did, as every team tries to circumvent the rules, and it just depends on how you look at it. Deflategate, to me, was nothing. Deflategate was because we're going to punish you for being habitual line steppers, and you've stepped on it in Spygate and a bunch of other things that we've asked you to quit doing, so we're going to throw the book at you at Deflategate. Aaron Rodgers said, I like footballs at 16 pounds of pressure, over the above. You saw the Minnesota Vikings warming up balls on the sideline. Totally illegal. Same thing, they got a $25,000 fine for doing that. Tom Brady gets a 4-game suspension. That was because of the history of the New England Patriots. They've been caught. They've circumvented the rules, as every team, in my estimation, has done to some degree. How much of it does Tom Brady know? I don't know. Maybe a lot, maybe none. I don't know. But I look at it, I think it's a ridiculous comparison when you start talking about steroid abusers and you're talking about Tom Brady and a guy who, allegedly deflated some footballs.
Yeah, whoever this guy is at Pittsburgh, obviously, it's just jealousy, good old-fashioned jealousy. Colin Dunlap, whatever. It's ridiculous because I know Tom, and Tom is a competitor, and we get mad at him because he is such a handsome guy. Right. He's the guy who's got the wife, he's got the championship rings. They're always dominating, so people are going to be jealous of him. But make no mistake about it, just like you said, man, I remember putting Stickum on there. I remember putting, which was legal at the time, but whatever, they gave me the stuff to spray on it. They gave me stuff to take before a game that Navy SEALs use before they go into battle. It turned out that was illegal a couple years later. I mean, you're always doing stuff to try to get ahead, but nothing like steroids. That's ridiculous.
We beat you when I was in Denver and you were in Kansas City in a playoff game. They sent our whole offensive line off to the sideline because we had so much Vaseline caked all over our uniforms. And, we didn't even miss a beat. We went over there, got it wiped off, came back in. It was illegal. but everybody has tried at some point or another to slightly circumvent the rule. Every organization does.
Let's call what New England does deception. If I wrote off a lunch every day that wasn't a business lunch every day of the year.
Yeah, that's cheating.
Okay, it's deception. But if I was a billionaire, does it really matter? Or, by the way, when you drive to work, it's called the speed limit. You went over it.
I walk to work.
Let's just call what they did deception. It's how the IRS functions. It's how our freeways function. It's how...
I don't want to go too far and defend the Patriots. I like criticizing this guy for being jealous. I like criticizing the guy for being an attention seeker, big week of football.
In Pittsburgh.
And so how can I get my name in the mix here? In terms of defending the Patriots for all their pushing of the envelope, I don't want to go there. I get why people are bothered by the Patriots.
Yes.
I have a ton of respect for Brady and Belichick and what they've accomplished. They're the ultimate winners. But people that look at them with a side eye and, you know, you guys walk around like you're better than everybody else.
Okay.
But just because you're better at pushing the envelope doesn't mean you're better.
Hottest coach in college basketball is John Calipari. Look at his resume. Greatest all-time coach is John Wooden. Look at Sam Baker. Deception's been present forever.
Hi guys, Colin Cowherd here. Before the show moves along, I wanted to tell you that Speak for Yourself is brought to you by Freshly. Freshly delivers fully cooked, prepared meals straight to your door. No more coming home, wondering what's for dinner, because Freshly's team of chefs and nutritionists are here to save the day. Skip the shopping, chopping, and cleanup. Boom, it's yours. They're fully cooked. All you have to do, heat them up. Each meal ready in only 3 minutes. Delivery and takeout, hit and miss. You know that. Sometimes it comes cold. Why run the risk? How about guaranteed quality meals from Freshly? Easy, no dishes to worry about. Freshly's menu has it all. Sicilian-style chicken parm, Mediterranean shrimp bowl, sweet and sour chicken. These meals are restaurant quality. To try Freshly out, go to freshly.com/Fox Sports to get $20 off your first week. That's 6 meals for just $39 plus free shipping. This offer's only valid for a limited time. Go to freshly.com/Fox Sports. $20 off, free shipping. That's pretty good. Consider dinner done with Freshly. Now let's get back to the show.
Well, home field might not be the only thing on the line in this game. According to Vegas, Tom Brady's the clear favorite to win the MVP. Antonio Brown has the second best odds of receiver. Not out of the realm of possibility, the huge performance by AB this week could seriously help his cause. Huh? Whitlock, Antonio Brown playing to you for the MVP Sunday?
As well he should be. Chris Collinsworth was first in on this. I'm very happy to be second in on this. The guy has a case to be the MVP. Vegas is recognizing it now. People are starting to understand this is a historic season Antonio Brown is in, and it's reminiscent of the way Jerry Rice once dominated the NFL. And Jerry Rice probably should have gotten an MVP during his illustrious career. The right thing to do if Antonio Brown comes out, because we know Bill Belichick is going to do everything in his power to take Antonio Brown out of this game. And if Antonio Brown manages to have an impact, whether it's through the return game, whether it's from the screen game or whatever, reverses, whatever they have to do, it's like Charles Woodson winning the Heisman when he was at Michigan. You know, cornerbacks don't win the Heisman very often. Antonio Brown as a wide receiver can win the MVP.
I just don't even for a second buy it. I don't think historically receivers are relevant to Super Bowls and championships. I've always said they're icing on the cake, not the cake. Cake is line play and quarterback and coaching. I'll give you an example. The greatest actors of our time, Marlon Brando, Laurence Olivier, there's a lot, you know, Jack Nicholson. They've had a half dozen bombs each. Brando may have had 8. Why? Because they get the attention, but writers, the great writers in Hollywood's history, have very few busts. Writers are the keys to movies. If they weren't, then De Niro would have 40 for 40 hits. But he's had 6 or 7 poorly written movies with no plot, the arcs don't meet, and so he's had busts. Writers control it. Offensive lines control this game. Even Brady can't do it without an offensive line. But the movie star is the wide receiver. So we do this all the time. We give the running back, and we give the receiver and the return guy credit. This game is fundamentally about a coach on the sidelines and the offensive line. That's what,
so Desmond Howard didn't deserve the MVP of that Super Bowl when he dominated.
No, I'm not saying they can't be in a game. I'm saying MVP is for a 16-game season. Antonio Brown is not the most valuable player in this league.
Yeah, I think one of the problems that you have with the wide receiver position, like you said, you can't make an icing or a cake out of icing. You got to have some eggs, you got to have some flour, you got to have all those things, right?
Good icing cake.
Yeah, just straight icing cake. But they're one of the most dependent position, if not the most dependent position on a football field. Is the wide receiver. So can he be an MVP? Sure. You show me a game this weekend where he has 3 TDs, 220 yards receiving, and 12 catches, and Brady gets shut out, and then we'll talk. Now we'll have a new conversation. But until that happens, against Brady and against Belichick and against the Patriots, I just don't think it's going to happen.
No, I agree with you. I don't think it's going to happen. But look back at the beginning of the season. Remember how much heat we were giving Ben Roethlisberger, saying, okay, maybe he should retire. Is his head not in it? He's not playing that well. That's the reason why this offense isn't moving at the beginning of the season. Now you look at it, what he's been doing. Antonio Brown is the most targeted receiver in the NFL. Okay, he's leading all categories right now.
Well, he should be.
And as well, he should be. And I agree. I think if you take who's more important on the Pittsburgh Steelers team, if you took Ben Roethlisberger off that team, the backup quarterback, would they still have the same amount of wins? If you took Antonio Brown off there, that's the way I look at it. Would you still have the same amount of wins? Quarterback is always. That's why they're the MVPs, because they control it.
Right, yeah, Brown's not even the MVP of his own team. It's Roethlisberger.
Well, think about this.
You're wrong.
Just think about this. In most positions, who is the last 15 years the greatest left tackle? Jonathan Ogden. Most believe. He's got a Super Bowl. The greatest quarterback, Brady, got Super Bowls. Lawrence Taylor was the greatest pass rusher ever. Reggie White, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. I can name the 7, 8 greatest receivers of all time, and only Jerry Rice, due to Montana, has Super Bowls. Randy Moss doesn't have any. Julio Jones doesn't have any. Calvin Johnson doesn't have any. I mean, I can name 20 great receivers. 18 don't have a Super Bowl. You start going to the best quarterback, the best lineman, the best left tackle. They have Super Bowls.
Well, listen, and that's why Jerry Rice was special. Because, again, he was so dominant at that position. He was a major factor in them winning Super Bowls. And Antonio Brown this year is having a Rice-like season. And Jerry Rice finished second in MVP voting once. Right now, Antonio Brown seems to be scheduled to finish second. How can the guy who may finish second in the MVP vote, oh, it's preposterous for him to win MVP. If he's right now slated for second, he's got to be in the conversation. And if he outplays Tom Brady and a defense set up to stop him this weekend, I just don't understand how you guys are acting like it's crazy for this man to be the MVP.
It's like okay, back to movies and acting. You know, you have they have best supporting actor. He could be best supporting actor.
That's a good one.
He's not the main guy. He's not Tom Hanks. He's not that.
Best supporting MVP?
There are 3 phases to football. Yeah. Offense, defense, and special team. There's a likely chance this man is going to play on special teams this week in the return game. He's going to be instrumental in 2 phases of the game. Right. Field position is critical in football. Listen, man, we want to reduce football just down to the quarterback. I'm completely against that. Just because every year we get a Heisman Trophy, we get into it's quarterback, quarterback, quarterback. So these other positions matter. I know they've changed all the rules and everything's
no, they do. Sean Lee, Luke Kuechly, when they leave, their defenses aren't the same. You know, I mean, what I'm saying is, I agree with you. Great linebacker play, especially a guy like Kuechly, who's a talker, Sean Lee, Shazier. They're not the same defense without him. What I'm saying is, the receiver tends to get so much hype because he is the greatest athlete. He is on an island. He makes spectacular plays. The left tackle, Tyron Smith left, the Cowboys couldn't get a first down. He returned, Zeke's still not there, they're winning games.
What this guy has been doing with his feet on the sidelines is special.
It is.
Oh. It's
I'm not denying
Not everybody can do that, and it makes a difference.
If he can line up at corner and intercept Tom Brady, I'll give it to him. I need him in all 3 phases, Whitlock. All 3 phases.
Charles Woodson did play some offense. All right, welcome back. Tony Gonzalez and Mark Schlereth are back. Let's move to Seattle, where the Seahawks host the Rams Sunday in a game with huge implications for the crowded NFC playoff picture. Jared Goff is looking to help cement his team's control of the NFC West, while Russell Wilson has been carrying the Seahawks all season and is trying to drag them back to the postseason for the 6th straight year. Cowherd, who's under more pressure Sunday, Goff or Wilson?
Well, Goff, because he's got better pieces. He's got a better offensive line, that's undeniable. He's got a superstar running back. He's got a better complement of tight end and wide receivers. So Goff has, and he's got an offensive-minded head coach. If Russell Wilson struggles, he always has an out. I got no help. If Goff struggles, it's going to be, dude, you're just not ready for the game.
Oh, we're arguing two separate things, because I get your argument. It's logical. My argument would be because Goff has so much help, Russell Wilson's the guy under the most pressure. Russell Wilson, the defense is falling apart, injury-riddled. The offensive line, all the pressure. Russell Wilson, they're in a win now, keep their playoff hopes alive, lose control of the NFC West, and it's all on Russell Wilson. I think all the pressure's there. Jared Goff is going to get a lot of help from Todd Gurley, from Robert Woods and Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, you're talking I'm almost talking reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Goff's got a lot more to work with here. I mean, I think the Rams, if you look at everybody we acknowledge is good in this league, the only team that nobody will put their arms around is the Rams.
I love them. Yeah.
We watch them because we live in L.A. What's their weakness? What don't they do kind of?
See, I'm on this with you. I think the pressure's all on Russell Wilson, because if Russell Wilson doesn't drag his team to the finish line, they don't win. And when you look at the Rams, I mean, you look at defensive line, edge right now with the injuries goes to the Rams. You look at just defense in general, goes to the Rams. You look at the receiving core. Other than tight end, I'll give the tight end battle. If you just went player for player, I'll give the tight end battle to Seattle. Other than that, receiving, just the overall, the totality of the receiving department, I give it to the Rams as well.
Yep.
O-line, like you mentioned, by far, I mean, heavily outshines the Rams do than Seattle, and then the running back position as well. So I think it's all on Russell Wilson. He's got to carry his team. Goff just has to manage his team. Russell has to carry his team.
Yeah, well, like you said, reputation-wise, Jared Goff, you got to win this game. If he doesn't win this game, to me, then you're not ready. That's all, and I will say that after the game and back. Look, I obviously you're just not ready for this kid. Going into, you probably still go to the playoffs, but you haven't turned that corner as a team yet.
Tony, you remember he threw the game-winning touchdown pass in the last game, and Cooper Kupp dropped it.
This is the time when teams that, if you're talking about a serious run at the Super Bowl, December is where you get hot. This is where you win. The Seattle Seahawks are not the team that they used to be. They got injuries. Jared Goff, you have to win this game.
Think about this.
Reputation-wise.
Seattle's missing 2 linebackers, Richard Sherman. They'll never have a worse offensive line. They won't. I mean, this Seattle team's living off a good coach and a great quarterback.
But if they lose, Jared Goff's a child who, again, I've already seen him play very well against Seattle once. I saw him lead a 30-second offense. They call it 2-minute offense, whatever, no timeouts. Should have won the game. If they somehow, I don't think it'll be on Jared Goff. If they lose, it may be turnovers like the last game. Or maybe the defense falls apart.
What if I gave Russell Jared's team and Jared Seattle's roster?
There's no question. Jared Goff could not carry the Seattle team the way Russell Wilson has. But in terms of reputation, I'm telling you, Russell Wilson is a very outstanding quarterback. He's trying to elevate himself into an MVP caliber quarterback. This Sunday, he could do that by knocking off the Rams with no personnel basically helping him. I think if he doesn't get it done this weekend and plays poorly, his reputation takes a bit of a hit. Jared Goff's just a baby, man. This is his second year.
I don't know.
First year with a decent coach.
Carson Wentz. We don't give him 3 years anymore.
You know what's just interesting is that argument about Russell Wilson. See, I think if Russell Wilson wins this game and dominates this game, and you were talking about Antonio Brown winning the MVP. I think Russell Wilson has a far greater chance of usurping Tom Brady in that MVP race than does Antonio Brown.
Yes.
Because of the lack of weaponry, because of the defensive injuries, he's the guy that I would look at and say he's the one guy that can chase down and basically bypass Tom Brady.
I totally agree with that.
And that's the key to this argument, I think, is if they win, it's going to be because of Russell Wilson and no other. Not that the other guys are going to show up; they got to play their part. But if they win, it's going to be because of Russell Wilson's play. If the Rams win, it doesn't have to be just because of what Jared Goff does.
I totally agree with you.
Y'all did watch the Jacksonville game last week, though, right? Yeah. With Russell.
Well, they're pretty good.
I'm just saying, I watched the game.
Well, so did I. My TV works too.
Hey guys, Fox Soccer analyst Stu Holden here. Now before the show moves along, I have an exciting announcement to share with you. Stop what you're doing and mark your calendars for Sunday, December 17th. U.S. soccer legends Landon Donovan and Clint Dempsey will join Steve Nash, Roger Clemens, Bodie Miller, and other athletes and celebrities for Kickin' for Houston, a celebrity soccer match benefiting the victims of Hurricane Harvey. Now, as a Houston native myself, this is something that is near and dear to my heart. You can watch the match on Fox Soccer Facebook, Periscope, and YouTube, and on Fox Sports Go Sunday at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. If you want to donate, please visit kickinforhouston.com because 100% of the proceeds will go to the victims of Hurricane Harvey. Now get back to your show.
Welcome back, Tony Gonzalez, Mark Schlereth here. Let's move to Oakland. This is an interesting game where the Raiders host the Cowboys Sunday. I don't know what to make of it. Dallas fighting to keep their season alive. The pressure to carry the team will fall again on the quarterback, Dak Prescott, young guy, who doesn't get Ezekiel Elliott back until next week. Now, Dak has clearly faced more struggles in his second season than he did last year, no question. Major drop-offs across the board, including the most important category, his team's record. Whitlock, you still confident in Dak's future?
I'm a little less confident. How could you not be? But I'm not ready to jump ship on the guy. Look, man, you know, no pain, no gain. You got to be put in the fire. You got to have a fire to make bacon. And so he's gone through it this year. They got to get him some receiving help. I was someone that thought Des Bryant could still be a high-level receiver. He's not. You know, he makes some occasional plays, but doesn't consistently get separation. Then he loses Ezekiel Elliott this year. And so if you don't really have a number one wide receiver, you lose your running back for 6 games. There's going to be some drop-off. Dak was drafted in the 4th round for a reason.
I like him more than you do.
Yeah.
Number one is there's this narrative he can't win without Zeke. Well, he's just won the last 2 weeks without him. If you take, he's played 29 games. Now I'm not going to take 3 random games. I'm going to take 3 games out when he had 3 catastrophic losses. He lost maybe the best running back in football, the best left tackle in football, and the most crucial linebacker in football. These weren't like random guys, and I'm not going to take random games. Here's his career, the other 26 starts. Guys, those are MVP numbers. He's got a noisy owner. The defense back 7's average. His head coach maybe doesn't adjust well. If you just take out 3 games where he lost the 3 best players maybe at their position in the league, it took him a while to navigate. But since then, he's back, and he's a very formidable player to me.
Like your point, those are Pro Bowl numbers, not MVP numbers.
All right, fair enough.
All right,
you and I have disagreed on MVP today.
Okay, yeah, that's all we've done is disagreed on MVP. I think he's an outstanding young quarterback, and he's a prisoner of his own success from year one because you look at 63 completion percentage, you look at 21 TDs and 9 interceptions, and you'd say 80% of the teams in the league would say, I'll take that at quarterback. Yeah. Can I have that guy, please? They've lost their left tackle, to your point. One of the big issues, they lost Ronald Leary, their left guard, who was an outstanding guard. He went to Denver to be as a free agent. They have not replaced him. The guys, they've had a revolving department store door at the left guard position. Their right tackle used to be a guard who went out to right tackle in Collins, and he hasn't been great out there. He's been okay, but he hasn't been great. So you couple with the best offensive line in the league that has not been that, and you've lost your running back, and now it's all on our second-year quarterback's shoulders. And as you mentioned, you know, Des Bryant hasn't been that elite number-1 receiver, and maybe not for a long time. Maybe he'll never get that back.
I don't know if he will either. It's not looking like it. But Dak Prescott, to me, he's the franchise quarterback. He is the guy for this team going forward. He's going through that sophomore slump. Remember my second year in the league. You were there. We talked about it before.
And your first. Go ahead.
Yeah, had a pretty decent first year. You got all that pressure on you the second year. You want to go out there and play well. You don't play as well as you think. I think this is what defines guys' careers. Going through downturns in their career like this. This is what propels you to have that grit and that guttiness that he's going to have for the rest of his career. He's going to be fine. He is the face of this franchise for the next 6, 7 years, and he's going to do a hell of a job with it.
You know, in football in our lives, Namath, Bradshaw, Aikman, Elway, they threw a lot of picks. Brady was the first that you got all the upside with no interceptions. Aaron Rodgers has followed that. You know, the one thing I always go to Dak, there may be a ceiling. Jason, he doesn't make a ton of mistakes. I mean, he really doesn't. He doesn't throw interceptions. I think his judgment in quick space cognitively is really high.
The league has changed.
Yes.
And that's why interceptions have dropped.
But Breeze still throws them, and
Yeah, that's
Eli,
the
and
secret.
there are
He's
some
short.
got Cam, and
Give me this, though, just off anybody off the top of your head. At one point last year, everybody's saying, man, he's Warren Moon. Who's the comparable? Who is Dak
That's a good
Prescott
question.
right now? If you had to say, oh, the guy he reminds me of that was a great, who is it? I don't think the Warren Moon comparison still flies this year. And that's why I say there's reason to be a bit concerned.
you know what? That's a great question because I don't have a comp, and I usually have it with everybody. He's unique. He is. He's a little under, you know.
What?
Here's my comp. No, this is too good. There's a little Drew Brees here. He is just give me this. He's a sturdy, little undersized. He's about 6'2", little undersized, not huge arm.
He's not a risk taker like Drew Brees.
No, but he is a
Brees got
very
big pair.
accurate thrower. Brees is a very accurate thrower.
What about Alex Smith?
No, he's better
He's
than.
not throwing the ball down the field.
I think he's a sturdier. I like his arm better
Doesn't
than
turn the
Alex.
ball over. High percentage.
That's not a terrible one.
Yeah, he doesn't turn the ball. High percentage throws. Very accurate. But, you know, push the ball down the field. That's what I think.
Jason, noisy owner, backfield legal trouble, Dez squawking. He's dealing with more noise than anybody in the league. And you look up this weekend, they win this game. Here we go. Welcome back. Joined now by Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard, founder of the Big Lead, Jason McIntyre. Let's move to Cleveland. LeBron and Lonzo faced off first time last night. I thought Lonzo played pretty well. LeBron's better, and it showed. Triple-double en route to a Cavs win. Close, though. After the game, LeBron raised some eyebrows, had a secretive chat with Lonzo on the court. Reaction got even more intense when both guys were evasive about the conversation afterward.
I noticed LeBron grabbed you after the game on the court. What did he say to you?
He didn't tell me anything.
Just a good game and kind of slapped hands, that's it?
Nothing.
The things that you said about Lonzo, is that why it was so important for you to have that post-game chat with him after the game?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Were you mentoring him or giving him any advice on
None of our
it?
business.
Whitlock, big deal these guys had a mysterious, secretive meeting on the court?
No, I think this is just LeBron James doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He's the elder statesman, the ambassador to the league, the king of the league. Young guy comes into a league who's under a lot of fire. LeBron James is supposed to give him some words of inspiration after the game. And I don't think it's a big deal. I'm not sure why LeBron covered up, but it doesn't even bother me that he did cover it up because, you know, he wanted to have a little private moment with the dude. And I think it's great. He should be mentoring the young stars in the league.
Yeah, I think he's sort of, I said today on the radio show, he's the NBA's great uncle. He doesn't want to change diapers. He doesn't want to do your homework. He's not your dad. But he does like to offer sage advice, come into your life, offer wisdom. Everybody's got a cool uncle. Stops by, driving a nice car, got a good joke, takes you to dinner. Doesn't live day to day with you. He doesn't want to play with Andrew Wiggins. He doesn't want to play with these young guys. He wanted Kevin Love over Andrew Wiggins. But this is, I think, what he does. He's the NBA's great uncle. He loves swooping in, offering help from afar, but he don't want to play with you. He wants to play with Love and Wade and Bosh and Battier.
I don't know if this is why LeBron does it, but I've been told by people that LeBron wanted Jordan, who was his idol, to kind of take him under his wing, you know, as he came into the league and all that. It didn't happen. But this is LeBron James. This is personality. This is not just Lonzo Ball. He's done it with Ben Simmons. He told Simmons at his camp he could be better than LeBron is. He has these other great players at his camps in the summer. Chris Paul, when he came into the league, mentored him. Kevin Durant, I remember LeBron having him brought into the Cavs locker room in Washington, D.C. when Durant was in either high school or college. But that's who he is. That was sincere. Like, this wasn't for the cameras. I think he sincerely just didn't want people to hear what he was saying because with Dwayne Wade, remember when he went back to Miami and Cleveland, him and Wade did the same thing. They had a conversation on the court, and they covered it up with the T-shirt. So I think he wanted to stop the lip readers like J.
Well,
Mac.
I'm not reading lips. Come on. Listen, guys, we know everything LeBron does is calculated, whether it's social media, cryptic stuff. Hey, I watched The Godfather. He loves to throw these movies out there, plant these seeds. I'm just wondering, guys. We know the media is sharks. This is blood in the water for the media. What if the long-term play is LeBron moving from star to mogul, and he identifies Lonzo can move merchandise, and he says, man, I'd love him in that Clutch Sports stable, moving some sneakers down the road. He would be a big
baller
addition.
Sneakers?
Well, he
I mean,
pull him. Hey, you know what? Your dad's not doing a great job. He plants these seeds now. 5 years from now, Lonzo comes over to his side, and they work together. I can see this as a business move from LeBron, who's very savvy and forward-thinking.
He is
Broussard, come on.
He is pretty calculated.
Everything he does.
He is, but I'm just saying that was real.
I want to follow up on Chris's point just to expand it a little bit more. The one thing that's been consistent about LeBron James since he was 18 years old, he wants other people to be successful.
Yeah.
Maverick Carter, Rich Paul, his whole thing. Now, Michael Jordan and these other guys, the old school guys, Charles Barkley, we were hyper competitive. And so Michael didn't want to be friends with everybody. He wanted to compete with you. Kobe didn't want to be friends with everybody. He wanted to compete with you. LeBron James's mentality, and I think it comes from that difficult childhood, is how can I help other people to have as much success as I'm having? That's the joy he gets off on.
You know, the NBA's always had one of their stars every decade that was a little different. Wilt was a flake. Jabbar was very academic and cerebral and aloof. Magic was the giver of his generation. So's LeBron. Now, I think some of it is the world's changing. Millennials tend to be more communal. But we've always had kind of a quirky guy in the league that went contrary into the league. And LeBron is a baton passer, to your point. I think it's a great thing. I don't think people in our business do it much. You know, from Wall Street to Silicon Valley, it's get yours when you can. And I think LeBron has a real understanding that he can change not only his game, but the NBA and the world, and I think it's one of his great qualities.
And Chris, remember this, the Lakers locker room is devoid of veterans right now. There is no veteran leadership in there. And you wonder, if LeBron's going through Lonzo's going through a tough stretch, who's he leaning on for support in that locker room? We don't know what the relationship is like with Magic, because Magic, you know, has the father issue.
Yeah.
You know, LeBron is that father figure. He can provide the experience. Hey, man, I've been under that spotlight. I know what it's like to be the most scrutinized athlete in sports. Lonzo, I'm here for you if you need it. I like what
LeBron has really, I mean, he set the example even for veterans. I mean, remember Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul? They have followed LeBron in terms of Kevin Durant, their business dealings.
Yeah.
I mean, the way they dress. LeBron was the first guy I saw wearing the tight Eurofit suits. Now everybody's, I mean, he set an example for a lot of these guys. Because before that, it was be as hood as you could, you know, the cornrows.
Iverson.
And yeah, Iverson was kind of the example for a lot. And then Melo, you look at Melo early in his career versus later, a lot of that was following LeBron's example.
By the way, Lonzo was pretty good last night.
He's all right.